Hey, who's gonna share their screen to go to the hub and look at the documents? Cause I can't get on there from my desktop. Cause I don't have. Yeah, I don't know how to do that. So I just need somebody to be the host so I can walk in the documents. No, I was gonna do them from the hub. I gotta transfer the documents from my laptop. Yeah. I can do it from my screen while you're calling.
Morning. What is my, oh,
Yes. Hey, good morning, peeps. We'll get started in a minute. Dun, 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 dun. I can see like a lot of people here.
Can't hear you. You're on mute, Todd.
Mute me.
No, right here, right here.
I'm just admitting people. How's everybody doing today? Give a thumbs up if you can hear me. I got to tell you, I'm really good at GoToWebinar, but this whole Zoom thing with like 100 people, I'm not so great. So, but it's cool because we're figuring it out. So I've got all your microphones muted. I guess I'm the host here, so everybody's mic is muted. I'm going to play around with the mute thing so that we want to make sure, though, just housekeeping, keep your microphones muted. Okay. You can self-mute right now. I got it locked, so you cannot, even if you unmute, you can't talk, but I'm going to unmute microphones in a minute so you can unmute yourself to ask questions, if that makes sense. Here's what I don't like, though. So for my peeps here at the office, like I guess I'm the host, so I have to click nonstop admitting people into this thing. So I don't want to do that again. Like it's difficult to be the host, and it's like you're in front of a camera producing something, and the producer's like throwing things at you, and you've got to try to focus on your lines and pay attention to what the producer's throwing at you as well. So anyway, maybe whoever can be the host there, co-host.
I'm your co-host today.
Oh, Dana, can you like admit people? Can you?
Yes, I'm gonna try to do all that for you. So I'm co-host today.
Okay.
So we're ahead of you.
All right, man. This is great.
All right. I just had to unmute myself.
How many of you have had more than 10 people? How many of you guys have done a virtual open house and have had more than 10 buyers on the thing at one time? Type into the chat if you've had a virtual open house recently over the last 8 weeks, an interactive open house using Zoom, and you've had 10 or more buyers on there looking at each other while you're doing it. Who's done that? Anyone? Let's see. Type into the chat here so I can see. Some weird noise every 5 seconds or so on Todd's line. Is that true?
You're really, really clear, and then all of a sudden it like sounds like the internet's gone out or something. So maybe you can dial in from your mobile. Like I think it's the mic.
Okay.
Let me see if I can
Okay, well,
help.
you got me because I have no idea how to do that.
I'm gonna tell you. Give us a second, everybody. Sorry. Megan, if you just show them how to do phone. So Todd, click on your mic on your Zoom screen where it says mute. If you click on the little arrow, it's going to say switch to phone audio. And if you do that, it'll tell you a number to dial in. I think that'll take care of that.
Is that any better?
Yeah.
Am I better now?
Yep. We'll know in a minute because it's intermittent.
Yeah, can you guys hear me okay? Does it sound good? Sound good quality?
Yes.
Okay. Well, it's 9. My watch says 9:06 and my thing on my computer says 9:09. Cheap watch, man. Cheap watch, man.
Oh.
Okay, so we got everybody? You ready to rock and roll, Dana?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, here's our issue. If we're going to do our morning huddle right now, how are you going to do that with everybody's mic muted?
So staff, we're going to do huddle like we always do. I am going to try and find you in the group, and I'm going to unmute you, and we'll rock and roll like we always do. So for everybody on the call, every morning here at Todd's office, we do morning huddle, 9:09. And we kind of just take a temperature of the business. So we talk about, everybody here has some performance type numbers to track and make sure we're good, make sure we're doing a good job for you guys, and that we're on top of things. So that's what we do. So we're going to do that with you guys this morning. Let me find Michelle here. So Michelle, I think I already opened you up. So I'm going to do what we always do. So good morning, everybody. Welcome to work.
No, sir,
big.
All right. Michelle, how are we doing on the agent side?
We're doing good. We have 116 total agents. That's up 27 over last year. We have 47 team leaders, 8 partners, 43 team members, 12 solo agents, and 6 licensed staff members. Yay!
Awesome. All right, Morgan. Morgan is part of our Quantum Leap team. Morgan, how you doing on the Quantum Leap side?
Good. Hey, you got to show up too?
Go up.
Very good. Thanks, everyone. Okay, so we had right at 80% of our team leaders attend this last Tuesday's Platinum webinar. And then last month's April OSA workshop, we had right at 77% of all of our primary agents attend. Which is great. Of course, you know, as our saying goes, got to show up to go up. So the higher the engagement is a direct correlation to how fast and how fat your business grows. And I want to give a really big shout out to David Presley, who came on as a solo agent and just upgraded to team leader status. So great job there. And shout out to the Carter team, who moved up to the gold plan and get to keep all their commissions. So great job, you guys. And we have a total of 122 5-star reviews.
Awesome.
Yes, ma'am.
Perfect. Thanks, Morgan. All right, Nathan, how is our agent recruiting team?
Sell, sold. So we had 4 unique appointments yesterday. We had 2 reoccurring appointments. Currently have 7 pending licenses coming over, and we are had 1 platinum sale, and we had 1 titanium sale.
Awesome. Great job.
Absolutely. Great seeing everybody.
All right, Cheryl, how's our marketing team?
Good morning, everybody. Marketing is all about lead generation. Leads. I'm so excited. Absolutely. We had a master class yesterday and it was phenomenal. We had 214 that registered and we had 105 yesterday on the online master class that attended. It was a 49% show up rate. But I'm really excited because 11 people signed up for the Quantum Leap executive briefing, which is so cool. They're interested in your home sold guaranteed realty. We're getting out of obscurity. We are growing. It's so exciting. One thing I'm so glad we're doing this today, because we have been trying to get Todd up to 3,000 for LinkedIn. Of course, we want a higher number than that. We want 10,000. We want huge numbers, but we reached 3,014. So a big woo! Woo! Very excited. Our Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty Facebook followers, we're at 3,278. TW's public page followers, 5,201. Millionaire Agent Masterclass followers, we got 419. TW, we're working on his YouTube. We're at 584, but we're gonna get that going. So glad you guys are here, and thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, Cheryl. Awesome. All right, Claudia, how we doing on our transactions?
Show me the money.
Way to go.
All right, so year to date, we have 298 closings. We have 82 active listings and 73 under contract.
All right, perfect. And of course, those closings and transactions lead to money. And if I can get Chase unmuted here. Chase, you might have to unmute yourself. It says you got it locked, I think. Oh, there you are. Chase, I see you.
Can you hear? Oh.
Yeah, so
Hello?
all those
Can you hear me now?
transactions and closings lead to money. So how's our money?
The money, so the revenue side of that, we're at $2,981,197.14. And we've also contributed to charity of $24,220.67. And on the SEP side, we've been able to contribute $45,772.40. So the money looks good.
Awesome. Thanks, Chase. Hang on. Megan, I don't see you. Oh. All right. So I'm going to go over to Megan. Megan keeps track of our platinum team. Did I just, are you muted or unmuted? There we go. All right. So Megan, how's platinum?
Top dog. So, hey guys, we have 536 platinum members, which include 460 main members, 34 titanium members, 4 broker owner primaries, and 38 YHSGR platinum members, which include all of you. And then this past Tuesday, we had 301 members on the platinum webinar. So we're rocking.
Awesome. All right, guys, we're going to get to a point that we are going to live stream our huddle every day. We're kind of working on that. So over the next couple of weeks, you may see some notices to start joining us. We're trying to figure out what the best way to do that is. Maybe it's Facebook or in our private groups that you can just jump on, and we will live stream our huddle every morning. You guys can be a part of it. So I'm going to turn it back over to Todd and Michelle. Get us rocking and rolling.
Awesome. Yes. So we called our mastermind today. We had it regularly scheduled, didn't we, Michelle, to go to, what was it? Were we going to Children's Healthcare? What were we doing?
That's correct. We were going to go, but yeah, due to COVID, that's out. So.
Yep. So we'll regroup and begin our rounds face to face if we can from our sponsored charities in Florida and Georgia. So we'll reconstitute that when the time permits. But right now we'll do Zoom meetings and we'll have some fun with it. Hey, real quick, I did see, I think it was, seemed like it was Julie or Charles. They had a virtual open house. I asked you guys to sign in. I said, hey, who's done a virtual interactive open house where you've had, maybe around 10 or more buyers on the virtual open house looking at each other while you were walking everyone through the home? And it looks like that Julie and Charles did one recently. So that's pretty cool. I want to encourage you guys to blow that out every weekend, man. Find a home, promote that thing, and walk everyone through it. Now, if since most of you are in Georgia, so I think you could probably get away with actually getting people into these houses. And I know who was it? Was it recently that I saw a video? Who was that, Morgan? Who had they were running out in the yard. People at the open house recently from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. Who was that? I saw the video on our Facebook page. You guys know who it was? Type that in. RU4. It was Dwight and Sue. Yeah, they did a big open house and they actually did it live. And there were people running out in the yard, cars up and down the street. So in case you guys missed our last Zoom, the average days on the market in Metro Atlanta is down quite substantially. I mean, like short average days on the market, I think it was less than 14. And the average sales price had jumped a staggering $28,000 in literally 2 months, average selling price for metro area of Atlanta. I haven't seen that before in a long time. But the pending sales are down by essentially 22%. So that explains the low average days on the market. All right. So a couple of pieces of advice for you guys. There's essentially two big things you want to be doing right now. Focus on ready to act or ready to move prospects. So sellers, great message for that is cash for your home. Get a guaranteed offer on your home. Guaranteed cash offer on your home in 24 hours. I'd be blasting my databases and all over social with that offer. Okay. And then for buyers, it's the same thing. Ready to move, must act, must move, must sell sellers. Okay. So if I'm running ads right now targeting buyers, it's how about a list of must sell sellers? Okay. In the Beaufort area under $400,000, for example, must sell. So you guys got it. So all you're doing is connecting the two. Sellers that must sell and buyers that really want to buy with those two particular offers. So if you're doing that, you'll have a pretty stable of now business. Okay, in conjunction with all of the other marketing and ads that we do. All right, so good. So I want to make sure I get that out there. Good job, everyone. So the purpose, yes, good job, Dwight and Sue. If it were me, there was. Let me give you guys a little bit of history on it. I think for about 8 years straight, we would run, my sales team in Metro Atlanta would run Sunday tour of homes for a solid 8 years in a row. There just wasn't Sundays or Saturdays that went by that we didn't have at least one home open for no more than an hour, sometimes as many as 6 homes open for no more than 15 minutes on a tour. So if you're not familiar with the Sunday tour of homes system, you want to write that down and execute on that. That is when you got low inventory, taking a listing or a property that is not really active for sale, maybe it's getting ready to hit the market and you're doing a Sunday tour of homes around that, you can customer stack, all right, especially when low inventory. So anytime low inventory comes along, engage in Sunday tour of home activities and you guys will be covered up with business. It's like running one ad on one day and getting 10 to 20 buyers. I don't know how many Dwight and Sue picked up at that open house, but I know I saw at least 20 people running out in the yard, literally, I think it was about a 10, maybe 15-second video. All right, excellent. So today we want to run through our contracts and agreements. Michelle,
Yes.
you and Ira and me basically pulled all of our agreements, listing agreements, buyer agreements, and forms. And we've been looking at those, updating them for 2020, making sure that we were in on, whatever feedback loop we've been getting from our agents, in this area. So we're going to look at those. Is that right, Michelle?
That's right.
All right. Now, are we going to go to the hub and look at those? How are we going to do this?
Dana actually believes she has them on the hub. So we'll look there. We're going to see where they are. They're hosting them.
Okay.
She was trying to get that connected.
Dana, your mic, is that what we're going to do?
Yep. Hang on.
Okay. So Dana's going to share a screen and we're going to go there and look at all these agreements. So while we're doing that, how many of you, well, I think all of you really are very familiar with the Georgia, the GAR forms.
Mm-hmm.
Now, does everyone know there's a stark contrast or stark difference between GAR and GREC? If you're in Georgia, same thing in Florida. If you're in the Florida Association of Realtors and the Florida Real Estate Commission, does everybody know there's a stark contrast? They're not related in any way. Okay. I want to make sure everybody knows that. Okay. So I'm in Georgia, so I'm very familiar with that. Georgia Association of Realtors is a club. Okay. As a matter of fact, the Georgia Real Estate Commission is the government. Okay. GAR and the Florida Association of Realtors are not the government. Okay. It's nothing more than a club. Okay. and I don't know any other words to describe it. I don't mean that negatively, by the way. Don't get me wrong. One's a government, Florida Real Estate Commission, Georgia Real Estate Commission. Okay. The other one is, I think a club is the best way to describe it. Do I have it right, Michelle?
Yes, you could say it's a club.
Yeah. What else? How else would you describe it? I used to, now I could be negative on it. I'm not a huge Board of Realtor fan, as you guys know. As a matter of fact, let me read something to you that you guys probably won't find shocking. Okay. All right. So let me share this with you. NAR, real estate's biggest trade group, is being sued right now. Just hit the Wall Street Journal this morning. Okay. I'm not surprised because, they tried to cast a wide net of rules on forcing its, quote, realtors into how they treated their listings. Like, you must put them in the MLS. Like, you can't have pocket listings. If you got a pocket listing, we're going to fine you and all those kinds of things. So that wasn't going to fly. And so they're being sued over that policy right now. So that'll sort itself out. But that's the way it works. All right. NAR is really, really trying to get everyone that is a realtor, to follow the same rules. Okay. And all of you guys are essentially rule breakers. Okay. Just so you know, in a good way. Whatever's normal and standard out there, what the majority do, will never, ever, ever lead to super duper success. Okay. It doesn't matter whether you're a church, whether you're a nonprofit, okay, or whether you're a real estate company or a real estate agent. If you're going to go down the road to do what the majority do, you're going to end up where they are. Okay. So your mission every day, guys, is to wake up and work and design your days to do the complete opposite of what the majority do. All right. And trust me, it's not as easy as it sounds. Okay. For example, the majority of people in America do not get up and work out. Okay. So if you want to be super healthy, get up and work out. The majority of people in America eat, at McDonald's and other food like that. And we all like that. So if you want to be super healthy, you got to avoid all those things. Okay. The majority of churches out there, they've got a box. People go to the box on Sundays and it never grows. Okay. And they just preach to the choir. All right. And some of you, have gone to churches like that, sat into the pews and felt uncomfortable. It's like they didn't want you there almost. But then there are other churches, that, got big arms and they want everybody, okay, to come in there to do things completely different. And those are fast growing. It's the same with the real estate agents. We were looking at the numbers yesterday in our master class. They're really awful. Okay. Less than 1% of all real estate agents in Georgia sell more than 50 houses a year. All right. It's actually 40 homes or more. You're in the top 1%. Okay. So think that one through. If I'm at Keller Williams right now, 99% of all of the agents sell 40 homes or less. Okay. I think we're sitting at about 75% of all the agents here sell more than 50 houses. So, yeah, we're obviously doing something way different and better. So I like all that. I want you guys to cling to what's different. When we were kids, if you were different, you were made to feel kind of isolated. Now it's like, hey, dude, you want to be different. You go all in that area. So that's what's led to these agreements that we have. When we were looking at the board forms, well, you know what? Let me just tell you my own personal experience with them, and then we're gonna flip it over and go right through them. Okay. So I'm sitting at a listing appointment, and I'm pitching to the seller, listing with me, and the seller's nodding along like, he's all in. Okay, well, what do we do now, Todd? And I'm like, well, we'll just get to the paperwork. So I reach into my computer bag and I pull out the paperwork, the listing agreement, which, as you guys know, was the quote GAR form. So I start going through it, and immediately the seller, his expressions, everything on his face, his expressions, his demeanor changed. Now, we had already talked about price, and I'd done my benefits presentation. So, but now all of a sudden, it's like I'm talking to Mr. Hyde. like he was Dr. Jekyll. Now the guy's Mr. Hyde. I'm like, what in the world happened? So I'm trying to go through the paperwork, and he stopped me about halfway through, and he says, look, can I be honest with you, Todd? And I'm like, sure. He said, everything that you just told me that you were going to do to help me sell my house, everything, it sounded really good. All right. But as we're going through the paperwork, none of it is in writing. And I'm like, so I had to do like a little two-step sidestep and say, well, these are, it's just the forms that we use. They're pre-printed, they're real estate forms. And, he had me. All right. And then he went on to say, you claimed you were different. You said you weren't like the other real estate. Well, I'm not. He goes, well, and then he goes over to his kitchen counter and pulls out a little folder, opens it up, and he had 3 other GAR listing agreements in there from other people he had interviewed. And he laid them out there and says, you guys are all the same. You say one thing, you do something else. How can you claim to be different and you're doing the same thing as the other people? So I didn't get the listing, but boy, it left a lasting impression on me. So here's what I did at that moment in time. I went back and I created extra forms, and we put them on top of the GAR form, and we just made them kind of like a bundle. So I used the GAR forms, but I had these extra addendums and contracts, and that worked okay for a while, but it just added too much paperwork. And every time I would get into the GAR forms, the language in there just wasn't customer friendly and centric. So that is what led to us building out our own forms. Plus, Michelle, how many builders, like if we go back behind our office here to Lennar, Michelle, they don't even use the real estate board forms, if you want to call it. They got their own contracts.
Yeah, some do, but some don't. And usually the ones that are, have been builders for a long time, they actually have their own forms. So
yeah, and they're professional home sellers, so it only makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah. Who wrote these? Florida Association, Georgia Association, Tennessee Association, Alabama. Who writes these contracts?
Well, in Georgia, they have a forms committee, and they have a lead counsel. Right now, it's Weissman. Weissman's been writing them now for, I think, 35, almost 40 years. And they have a forms committee, and they meet. And actually, we should check it out. It's very interesting. Ever go, but they actually combine, and they have a meeting, and they come up with it.
How many contracts or forms are there that GAR has?
Right now, I believe there's over 200. There's different amendments, exhibits. Basically, one purchase and sale, the commercial sales. There's different ones, but they're all the exhibits and amendments that go with them. So it's about 200 and something.
Okay, wow. Okay, so I guess every year Seth says, "Look, we need another $1 million for my law firm." So let me figure out. I know. Let's add some COVID language to our forms and contracts, and bill NAR or GAR, whoever's in charge of another $1 million. So I get it. So everybody, like we all know that, but we kind of fall in to line unless someone comes along and says, you know what, I'm going to get out of line and I'm going to do something better for the customers that won't freak them out on this language. I was looking at the GAR form for the buyer agreements that you sent me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I need to try to find that and throw it up on the screen. There were 4 things on the GAR form that it said that the agent would do for the buyer. 4. But the freaking form is like 7 pages long.
Yeah.
And there were 4 items. Okay. It says buyer's agent duties or something like that. And there were 4 bullet points on it. And the contract is literally 7 pages long. So I don't need to berate and make fun of all that. But what I'm trying to get you guys to do is to get motivated to be different and think different and use these forms that we have for you. Okay. Yes, you can write a contract on a paper napkin. Okay. And have 2 parties sign it, and it is a legal binding agreement. Okay. Everybody got that? No question about it. This is why the government, like in Georgia, Florida, and others, the government doesn't get involved in saying that you must use a certain contract because you can write it on anything. We used to could go down to the hardware store and pick up real estate contracts. You remember that?
Office Depot,
Yeah.
Home Depot.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Now there's Zoom. What is that? Legal Zoom.
Yep. Oh yeah, they're awesome.
Bob Shapiro's company. Yeah. So everybody gets that. So there's all kinds of ways to do legal agreements. All right. So here's what we decided to do. Based on my experiences of scaling a real estate sales team business to hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of sales, in my experience with working with the top real estate agents in the world, okay, some of them are actually on today's Zoom with us, okay? These are 7-figure multimillionaire real estate agents. Working with all these guys, that's how we ended up with, at the very least, our very own listing agreements and buyer agreements. Does everybody get it? Okay. All righty. So now we're going to look at them. We're going to look at all the forms available. We're going to walk through them. You guys can ask any questions that you want. Okay. And we'll go from there. I would say use the chat, and then we can open up their microphone when we get through this. Is that right?
Sure.
Okay. All right. So what are we looking at?
All right. So this is, for everybody who was on our last call, we kind of went through this new. It's the YHSGR Hub. So this is where we've tried to put everything kind of one-stop shopping. So if you ever wonder where something is, you can go to YHSGRHUB.com, and it's going to be here. So when you first log on.
Hey, one more time. What was the URL?
It's www.YHSGRHUB, Your Home Soul Guaranteed Hub.com.
YHSGR Hub. Yeah.
So if you just go there, it'll take you right here. You do have to be invited, and you do have to have permission. So if you were to go there and you don't have permission, you'll probably get some just blank screen or whatever, but we can always give you permission. We'll do that part of, I think Morgan's been inviting people, and then Claudia has too. So we're making sure everybody gets on here.
Beautiful.
So as you go to the hub, this is kind of where you can see everything you need. So we've got all your little boxes you can click on. On the second row right here, you'll see important forms and documents. So that's where we've put any forms or any relevant documents that we feel like everybody needs. So they can click right here, and it's going to take us in. If you can't find something, Morgan's put her phone number at the top here, but all the forms will they're loading in a little bit because of Zoom, but all the forms are going to be right here, and you can just click on them and they open up, and you can download them and have whatever you need. So we're just so you'll know, Todd, if you tell me what you want to look at, I've already downloaded all the PDFs on my computer to make it a little faster, so we're not waiting on Zoom.
Cool. Let's just start with the basics. Let's look at the listing agreement.
So we have 4. They're specific to CHOA, Eagle Ranch, Must, and RU4. Which one do you want?
All right. So they're all the same. The only thing different is the sponsored charity. Is that right?
That's correct.
All right,
exactly.
All right. So let's pull up RU4. Now let me say this: if you're an agent at this company, okay, and you have not dedicated some form of currency from your commission checks to one of these sponsored charities, you've got to get that straight. You can't be telling people that you're part of a giving when you're not giving. All right, I think you might get struck by lightning doing that. So let's make sure that we're all on the same page with that. So we've got 4 sponsored charities. Now, why is this a benefit for you? Well, because these nonprofits promote you. Okay, if you walk into Children's Healthcare of Atlanta today, there's a big plaque right there, Your Home Sold Guaranteed, and they will send thank you cards to all of your customers. I would love my clients to get a thank you card from Must Ministries or Children's Healthcare, Eagle Ranch, or others that says, hey, a gift has been made in your honor by your agent. Okay, like what is that going to do for my relationship with my clients? So the value in this is significant. Okay, all right. So I'm not going to make a big deal out of everyone's donating to charities. But I want you to, Chase gave the numbers earlier, right? And the numbers were almost twice as much being invested in the self-employed pensions than is being given to our sponsored charities. Okay? So many of you are equal investors and givers. Okay? All right. And if you look, I want you guys to give as much as you can. Okay. But you got to give something. If you're going to use these forms, you're going to be part of this company, you best be investing back into the community and the needs of it. That's just it's our core values. It's what we do. If you don't buy into that, here's my cell phone number. Everybody write this down if you don't have it. 770-355-8010. 770-355-8010. Give me a call or hit me up with a text message and let's talk. All right. I want to hear why you don't buy into it, or you don't like it, or it makes you nervous, or you feel like that you can't do it because you don't have enough cash flow. Hit me up. Okay. And we'll work on that. All right. So I wanted to get that out there. That's good. So we'll check that box. So here we have our listing agreement. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So all these listing agreements you said are the same, right?
Yes, with the exception of the charity.
Okay. All right. So, and we have 4 sponsored charities. So there's one page in every one of these agreements that's a bit different.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Okay. So the first page of the agreement is where we start when we sit down with the seller. Mm-hmm. All right. So before we go into our listing presentation, we actually start with page 1. Got it. And we're asking these questions. Hey, let me address this. It won't take about a minute here, but this is worth stating. Okay. Why do we start with our clients or who we're trying to convert to a client? Why do we start here? Okay. Well, the reason is because we want to document what we call the first mile. So one of our core values is to over deliver, go the extra. Like no one here is going to say that we don't over deliver on coaching and training and materials and everything that you need to be super successful. Okay. All right. So if you're going to have, this concept of, hey, let me go the extra mile. Well, it will be fake news unless you can document the first mile. Okay. So I think everyone knows the story of where this came from. All right. And if you, since we've got some new folks on here, probably should, because this will cover our listing and buyer agreements. Let me share it with you. Okay. Back a long time ago, during ancient times, when Rome occupied most of the Middle Eastern part of the world, Roman centurion soldiers could be walking down the road, and when they ran into someone who wasn't a Roman citizen, like a Jewish person, they would say, "Hey, Jew, get over here," and they would basically make the Jewish person carry all of their equipment. Okay, so if the Roman soldiers going north and the Jewish guys on the other side of the road going south, the Roman person would make the Jew carry his stuff wherever he was going, and if he didn't, he got beat up, killed, or imprisoned. So anyway, this gets back to the Roman Senate, and the Roman Senate is like, yeah, we can't be doing that. Like that's not going to work here for us we're going to lose control of our territories. So they passed a law. Okay. And the law was, okay, if you're a Roman soldier, you can ask them to carry your stuff, but you can only ask them to carry it 1 mile. That's it. Once they've gone a mile, that you can't ask them to carry it anymore. They got to drop it and they can go back to what they were doing. So that was their solution to this thing. So that's where you ended up with mile markers. Everybody understands that, the roadways, everybody knows Roman history. All right. So that's where first mile came from. So if you'll remember the story from the New Testament, you got Christ doing this sermon to a bunch of people. And he says, look, if a Roman soldier asks you to carry his stuff for them 1 mile, here's what I want you to do. I want you to carry it another mile. And of course, the crowd's like, are you insane? What are you talking about? So he started losing people. A bunch of them got up and left, like this guy's out of his mind. All right. But the concept of going the extra mile, second mile service came right there. That's where it happened. And if you know history, it wasn't long A few hundred years later, Rome, Christianity was the official religion of Rome. And it started right there with that dude saying, hey, just go the second mile. That'll change everything. So if you're going to do anything extra, the only way you know if you're doing extra is to know what the first mile is. So documenting it here, I love that story, by the way. Documenting it here on the first page of a listing agreement is smart. All right. So if you're walking around with the seller in their house and you're like, hey, why are you guys moving? Well, we want to do this and we want to do that. And I'm like, okay. So when you get back to the kitchen table and you sit down with the homeowner and you say, okay, when we were looking at your house, you said the reason you were moving, you were selling your home is, and you start to write it out. Here's what you'll discover. Many times the story changes. Well, Todd, I know we told you that the reason we were selling was X, but the real reason is we're getting a divorce, we're splitting up and da-da-da. So when you start writing things down, documenting history, trust me, the story will change. So that's the reason you want to write it down. Secondly, if my goal was to get a 5-star review, okay, and I think that I'm going to get a 5-star review just by selling the home, wrong. You guys know that from your own personal experiences. The reason agents do not get 5-star reviews on every single closing is because of what we've done here. They do not document what's most important to the customer and deliver that. They think that selling the home is delivering on what the customer wants. No, they could do that themselves. You guys got it? So you want to deliver on what they most want. So the way to do this right is to start with what they most want. Write it out, take it back to your office, get it into your CRM, get everybody on your team focused on delivering that. That becomes the deliverable. You guys got it? So that's the reason that page and that system came about. Second mile service, documenting the first mile, getting everybody on my team in the same loop on what we need to deliver to this homeowner. This is what's most important. We're going to sell the home anyway, okay? And we're going to sell it. We're going to sell it for the most amount of money within a short period of time. But that may very well not be what the homeowner wants. This is what they want. This is what we got to deliver on. That equals 5-star reviews. And then I can easily go the extra mile because I know what the first one is. So anyway, thanks for letting me get that in, or a good coaching moment in that area. So that's page one. And Michelle, that's the same on the listing agreements and the buyer agreements. Is that right?
That is correct. And it is required as part of, when you're submitting your documents in. So as you see, it says seller's initials, the buyer one says buyer's initials. So you just need to make sure, because you're going through the whole presentation. All right. So it's not an optional.
Yeah. So let's say you're Brandon George and you just listed a house yesterday and you're submitting your paperwork to the brokerage. Okay. All right. So Brandon sends his paperwork over. Something happens. Brandon gets sick. All right. Or he's got some other personal business he's got to go tend to. It happens. Okay. So Michelle is going to help in your deal. Okay. So she immediately goes to the paperwork and she can see what's most important to the customer and better effectively continue carrying the torch of what Brandon started. But if we don't know what the customer wants, it turns into just selling the home and it becomes many times misguided, no 5-star review. So how important is that? And you've ran into that before, Michelle.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. All right. Excellent. All right. So that's page one. Let's go to page two.
Todd, I gave you control of my screen so you could scroll through and look at what you wanted. So I think if you take it, there you go. There you go. Excellent. And I think I can take it back when I have to switch forms.
All right. So we kind of want to focus in on what's different from the old forms. But this is our mission, Mr. Seller. This is our plan. And here's our system. Everybody get it? Mission, plan, system. All right. Mission, plan, system. Okay. So that's how that works. And let's see. Then we get into our promises and guarantees. You don't want to be telling people you're going to do things and not be in writing. All of these promises and guarantees are very simple to make. Okay. And you don't need a giant penalty to have accountability. But there should be some form of penalty if you do not deliver, okay, on things. And these are just, these are like reductions in commission. So for example, number one says, hey, I'm going to let all the buyers in my database know your home's for sale. okay, frequently. If I don't sell your home within the time frame of the listing agreement, if you want, we can extend it and I'll waive my listing commission. Okay. How much do you make if the home doesn't sell? 0. So everybody can do that. Communication guarantee. On the communication guarantee, here's kind of my rule on it. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I call you guys and you don't call me back. It's the weirdest thing. Like, I can't imagine not returning a call from someone that's trying to help you. Okay. I don't want to be guilty of that. So if you call me and I do not call you back, you want to basically assume I didn't get your message. Because one of my rules is I'm calling people back, man, within a day. All right. At least acknowledging the call. So if you fail to return somebody's calls within a day, I don't know if you should have their business. Okay. I think everybody agrees with that.
Yes.
So, and people just want to know that. Where were we? Were you with us, Dana? I know Nathan was. We were down at Grant's office. Were we at Grant's office? We were somewhere, and some guy told us, no, we was at 10X GrowthCon. And some dude comes out of the blue, figures out who we are, and says, hey, is there anything you can do about getting agents to actually return calls? You guys you remember that? It was amazing. I'm like, yeah. Well, we guaranteed that we're going to return calls to our clients. So that's how that works. Broker, what is this? Honest promises guarantee. Okay. $500 penalty there. Reality-based selling price range. Okay. Got that. Up to $200 for every $5,000 below the agreed upon range. Okay. So we'll look at the range of value here in a minute. Okay. Reality-based timetable. So we're basically saying if we can't get your home under contract within 90 days, 3 months, we're going to knock $100 off for each week after that. Okay. Honest presentation of track record. If you can demonstrate that anything I've shared with you today is false or inaccurate, I'll donate $1,000 to a charity of your choice. And look, if I show your home to a buyer, they're qualified to buy it, or at least have been pre-qualified. If they later come back and say, I'm not qualified, you should get a knock for that. You should not be. No one here should be taking anyone into your listings that you don't know if the buyer can buy or not. It's I would be mortified if I was a homeowner thinking my agent is bringing people into my house. Number one, they don't know. And number two, you don't know if they can even buy the thing.
Right.
That's about the worst form of customer service I think I've ever heard in my life. But is that an industry norm or standard? Yes. All right.
And I think now, Todd, with the like you share with the numbers with the inventory being low, it's now more prevalent than ever that your buyers be qualified, not just anybody can get a pre-approval. They need to show the seller, because that's going to really help you win out. In addition to the letters to the seller, it's going to help you. And I've seen it help a buyer get the house, and not necessarily because they paid more, but because they were qualified.
Yeah. So a couple of points on that too, man. I'm blowing this up a little bit here. It's kind of jumbled together. That's a little better, isn't it? It looks like these things run together, buyers and waiting.
Yeah, we can fix that.
Is that but when I have the Word document, I clicking on it, it's not, it doesn't do that, but it looks like it might be just some formatting issues.
We'll fix it.
Yeah. So we need to kind of reformat that. All right. So type into the chat if you got any questions on this, but here's how it worked on my team. All right. I just qualified, I asked like 3 questions. Hey, what's your credit score? Okay. Hey, how much money you putting down? You got any late payments? Okay. And just ran the mortgage calculator and says, yeah, you're good. Like everybody here can do that. Like, you don't need a mortgage guy to ask those questions. You need to learn how it works when financing's, being in play. Okay. So we're not making the financing. We're not in that sort of thing, but you guys need to be able to quote pre-qualify people in your head. Everybody, I think here, mostly knows how to do that based on rates in a mortgage calculator and what the ratios are based on debt and income. Okay. But Michelle's clear. Like, hey, if you can get, right, but at the very least,
Losing you.
Ah, I can see what's going on here. Hang on one second.
We don't hear you. Something happened.
It's my headset and my microphone are going back and forth.
Oh.
Yeah.
You want to unplug your headset? Just unplug it.
I don't know how to do that. So I'm looking here to see how to absolutely fix that. So anyway, I'm just looking for my microphone options. Give me a second here. Weird.
Just pay it. Hang on, everybody. We need just a second so that. Do you need Megan to come down? Or just put your headset on? All right, hang on. All right, hang on, everybody. We love technology, but when it breaks, it. Oh, hang on. Nathan wants me to unmute him. He can do something. Hang on. Let me find you, Nathan. Can you unmute Nathan? I can't with my screen that way. Here we go.
You can click on the up arrow too.
All right, Nathan,
and
you're
unmute.
unmuted.
Can't hear Nathan.
Check.
Now we hear you.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm just kind of humming along and my microphone just quit working.
That's why we love technology and we love being live.
That microphone there, that's very expensive. Kelly, come fix it.
All right. You want me to control
Nothing like
my...
a little disruption, but that's technology, man. All right, why don't you go back to
okay, let me share my
we're
screen.
making some pretty good progress. Sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen, but that's the way it works with live. Okay, so we were just talking about the pre-qual letter, but we're good there. We better get moving. Okay, type into the chat if you guys have questions about your use of these agreements on any level. Okay. All right, so here we go. This is the page for the worthy cause. Yeah, like I don't like this right here where it runs over. Your referrals change lives through the ministry of RU4 people. Okay, so I think that needs to get reformatted there. And I'm assuming Dwight and Sue have this as their language.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right, so the way this works is there's a page for every sponsored charity. So in other words, there's a listing agreement. There's 4 of them, right, Michelle? There's
Yes.
Children's Healthcare, Must Ministries, and RU4 in Eagle Ranch.
Correct.
Okay, so when people on board, you pick a charity that you're going to donate some portion of your commission to.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then you're going to stick with those listing and buyer agreements with that particular sponsored charity. Doesn't mean you can't give money to others. Okay, like RU4 here, Dwight and Sue's a company. They give money to other. They even give money to other charities. I give money to others than those four groups right there. So it doesn't preclude you from doing that, by the way. All right, but we're just going to go public with one, and it makes perfect sense. All right, so you've got that page. Okay, nice. Let's get down here to the terms. Okay. State law says you got to sign an agreement if you want representation. Some of these lines on here, what is that all about? These formatting
Well,
lines.
look at that.
Like that's
Didn't
all
blow 'em
jacked up. Does it look like that when you print it off?
I don't think so, but we'll see.
It
Yeah.
might just be
Because I know
my
when you
PDF.
go to print it,
It
maybe
could be the
maybe it
PDF.
prints
Yeah, but we'll see.
Yeah. So that's
You made it
so,
like 125. It's 150 bigger.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
Yeah. I just want to make sure that when you print it off here, like I can see that gap right there. But I don't know if you go to print it off, it's different.
We'll see.
Some guys are typing to the chat like when you take a Word document, you go to PDF, you got some formatting problems.
Mm-hmm.
So if that's a legit issue, that's got to be fixed. All right. Okay, so let's just distracting me. Listing period, list price, price range. Okay, so the agreed upon price range. Why is this here when it's already on the other page?
What page?
Like with this guarantee right here
Mm-hmm.
is already printed on the guarantee page. Why is it here?
Well, you said you wanted it there with the
Yeah.
actual
Okay.
line there, so we put
Yeah.
it there.
Yeah. Okay, well, I'm just saying like we're repeating the same thing that's on the other agreement page. So if it were me, I would
Is
just
there a
do it.
line for it on the other side? Do you see a line for it to put the actual range of price?
I'm just talking about this paragraph that I
Yeah.
just highlighted.
Yeah.
That's in the that's on the guarantee page.
Mm-hmm.
So since it's on the guarantee page, I don't think we need to repeat it here.
Mm-hmm.
Type into the chat if you guys think we need to draw attention to that again here, or we're good with it being on the guarantee page. Let's create a feedback loop on it. Okay. All right, I appreciate that. Okay, so but definitely I would have an agreed upon range. This is how you're never wrong. Okay, ever. All right. So pre-listing term, talk about that, Michelle.
So basically, Todd alluded to the fact of NAR and, some of the lawsuits that are going on and, with the whole coming soon. And basically, we have a relationship with both listing services that say, we agree that when we have a listing agreement, we will put the listings in the multiple listing service.
Mm-hmm.
So what has happened due to we advertise a lot of off-market properties and things like that. So we have added the verbiage in here that if I'm a seller and I say it's okay for Todd to advertise my home for X amount of days, let's say 30 days, he's going to put it out there, try to get a buyer before we sell it and things like that, then I'm giving him permission to do that. So at that point, if after 30 days the property has not sold, we don't have a buyer, we're not under contract, we will then go ahead and place it into the listing services. So this in actuality will cover us in the event that we're questioned as to what the seller wants, because we'll always go back to what it is that the client wants.
Okay.
And so that's why we're doing that.
Got it. Okay. So I like that. This is pretty slick here, VIP investor program. Okay. So that essentially is in-house. Matter of fact, I think most of you guys were on our webinar about the investment opportunity going on right now over in Decatur, Georgia. Okay. You don't have to, if you're in Florida, I would want to get my clients interested in investing in real estate anywhere in the world if it's a good investment. So that's what that is right there. I'm hoping that you guys are running in-house or quarterly system, but you want to go back to your clients after you have a client Okay, go back to them for life, and encourage them to invest in real estate. Best Buy of the Week marketing campaign that many of you guys are running, that is an easy, simple way to do that. Okay, so homeowners warranty. Okay, so I like this this language in here, by the way, telling everyone you're gonna get a warranty. Okay, now Michelle, in order to make good on this, don't I actually have to turn in the warranty paperwork to the warranty company?
Yes, so I'm so glad you asked that question, because what's happening, you know, of course, America's Preferred is our home warranty company, and we have left, a lot of agents have left a lot of money on the table by not actually completing the warranty paperwork. It's like 5 questions. They have a portal for it to be done. It's actually something that your administrative assistant can do on every single listing and with the buyer. So you definitely want to do that, but you have to actually complete the paperwork. You actually have to call. You can actually call in, or you can go on the hub and actually order the home warranty. And then when you write it into the contract, you know, because most people that bring a buyer want an actual home warranty, and you can say it's already covered, already transferred to the buyer at closing, it's already taken care of. So just simple steps. Every listing that we get should have a home warranty on it.
Okay. Yeah, that's a big benefit for the seller. So if you guys look at this listing agreement before we get to the commission down here, here's what you've gotten yourself into. Okay, and then we'll wrap up the listing and we'll move to the buyer. Okay, I'm just gonna scale this thing back to the very beginning, and then we're gonna scroll through this really fast. Okay, so here's what we've done. We've documented what the seller most wants. Okay. Why are they even going through this big hassle of selling their home? Okay, that's a benefit to the customer. We disclose to them what our mission is in writing, what our plan is in writing, and what our system is for getting their home sold in writing. Okay, that's a benefit. We've listed and ran through guarantees and assurances with monetary penalties built in, which is essentially a reduction in commission. Okay, if you fail to perform in any of these areas. All right, so we've made those promises, and all of these promises are promises you can keep. These are nothing realistic or pie in the sky or weird. Okay, this is just normal everyday stuff that would be expected between a client and a real estate professional. Okay, so and there's limits. We even limited it to reductions in commission, which makes sense. Okay, all right, but I don't know how many times, I can't even remember agents here that have had to cough up money as a reduction in commissions based on not performing, based on your promises here, because they're just it's average, but what's not average is actually putting it in writing. Okay, so we made our promises in writing. We're disclosing to them that we're actually donating the money to a very worthy cause, comes right out of our commission checks into a worthy cause. And we put that in writing, got their buy-in on it, and even taking a shot at referrals and asking for referrals from customers before they're a client increases the conversion rates of them becoming a client. I don't know if you guys know that, but if you're involved in YHSGR training with Grant Cardone, you've already heard that from Grant. Asking for referrals before they become a client increases the likelihood they become a client. Okay, so that's why it's there and not at the very end. Okay, so that's where we are. Like, we've gotten into the agreement now and the terms. Okay, outlining for the customer a clear start date and end date makes sense, and a range of value. We're gonna, hey seller, what do you think? Hey, what do you think your home is worth? What do you really want to sell it for? Well, I really want to get 400. Okay, good. It looks like the value range is somewhere between 380 and 400, based on what's selling in the area. Do you agree with that? Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to put in that agreed upon range. Why do you need agreed upon range? Because we told them that if we fail to sell the home for below the agreed upon range, we get a penalty. So we need to put in an agreement range. Now, nobody's wrong. The customer's not wrong, and you're not wrong on the price. Okay. We're going to take this clause out right here. Okay. I had about 20 of you text right now into the chat And it looks like the vast majority say, yeah, just take it out since it's already in the agreement. But some of you said, no, leave it in. Okay. But I think when I submitted my edits, Michelle, I did say take that out, or because it was already in there. All right, what else? The VIP buyer client investor program, that's a benefit. Okay, that's a benefit. A home warranty, if something should happen while this thing's on the market for sale, another benefit. So all of those benefits before you get to the commission. Okay, so essentially all those pages we just went through there, summarizing it for the customer, was a summary of the listing presentation. Okay, can you guys hear me okay?
You're breaking up. Your mic is choppy.
Yeah, I got all kinds of mic problems here, man. Internet connections or something. So maybe I should talk slower. How about that?
It's working.
Does this sound better now?
That'll work.
It does sound.
Sound better?
Yep, you're good.
What is it, Megan?
Do you want me to call you in so you don't have any?
I don't, I just look, man, I don't know how, I'm not going to call in, do all this stuff. I don't know how any of that works. Plus there would be a delay. There's a delay when you call in versus your direct mic. Okay. So, we're going to make it work, man. Using Zoom, but you guys can hear me good. So I'll continue on. All right. Now we get into the commission. So we wrote in a rate of 7% plus 0.5% transaction fee. All right. So it's much easier, right, Michelle, to line through that and write in 6. All right. Or 6.5 or whatever.
Yes.
You know, it's easier to take things away than adding them in.
Correct.
Why is the 50%? Oh, anyway, somebody's reading ahead, texting in. All right, so everybody's got that. There's a commission. It's typed in. If you need to negotiate a lower fee, negotiate a lower fee. Just line through it. You'll look like a genius. But if you don't take a shot at a premium fee, you ain't getting it. That's for sure. And plus, if I can get it, I know you guys can. All right. And if you can get a $4.95 or $5.97 transaction fee, you can get a 0.5% transaction fee. Okay. First responder, love it. Whosever idea that was, that came from one of our agents. Beautiful. I think that's a cool thing to do. And it's very little money. Okay. All right. So how many of you guys are getting paid up front, taking a retainer or transaction fee on the front end? Okay. Well, this allows for it. Okay. If you're not going to take an upfront fee from the seller, what would I do, Michelle?
You can either write NA or write a big goose egg there.
Okay. So there you go. That's pretty simple. All right. Now let's look at some special steps. Okay. Monetary guarantees or as a reduction in the sales price. I got it. Seller acknowledges seller's property may not have, seller acknowledges any buyer for the seller's property may want representation. Beautiful. I like that. That's good. Okay. In other words, we're letting the seller know that these buyer's agents, they don't work for you.
Correct.
Okay. Why are we doing this? Like, why do we have this in this listing agreement over and above that? Well, let me share it with you guys. Real estate commissions that are being offered up to buyer's agents in the MLS systems across North America are going down, 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 and down. Everyone knows that. Okay. So what you're going to see more and more and more of is what we do. You're going to see buyer's agents trying to negotiate in their fees into these deals. Okay. So everybody understand that? You're going to see more and more of that as the years go by. It's going to feel like it came out of nowhere, even though we've been doing it for 25 years. All right. Setting, negotiating, collecting a fee as a buyer's agent, but that's how it works. We're typically 25 to 30 years ahead of the industry. The industry sooner or later gets around to adopting best practices. Okay. Then they become commoditized and we're always ahead. Everybody understands that. So that's why it's there, is because when you're submitting an offer and your commission is 7%, and the buyer's agent wants 2.5%, okay, well, you've already told the seller knows that the buyer may have representation that they want to work in their fee into the deal. Okay. So that's why it's there, and it will benefit you. All right. In case of buyer default on any purchase and sell agreement, okay, we're going to split the earnest money. Everybody sees that? To me, that's only fair. All right. If you're working to sell a home and you got a buyer, they default, it's $10,000 earnest money. You're going to split that with the seller.
Now, Todd, can we talk about that for a quick
Please,
second?
yeah, go ahead.
So just remember, like when you're actually doing a contract, somebody's got to follow that, because we don't hold trust funds. So if Parkway Title or Parkway Law is the holder, then you'll want to follow up with that. So you'll know if you're in a situation where this is happening, but you'll have to make sure that the holder of the earnest money is aware that the seller has agreed to this. And you may even have to send this agreement over to them so that they are aware when they get ready to disperse the funds. So that's just a little reminder there.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so I think everybody likes that. Okay, next statement is if we sell your home for above the asking price, every dollar above that, the commission is 50%. Okay, everybody understand that? So you don't want to do that, just line through it. Okay, but back during the recession, when we were listing houses and the majority of them weren't selling, okay, if you guys remember 7, 8, and 9, this is where we got into setting asking prices because the sellers wanted, crazy sums for their home. So here's what we did. We just said, okay, my commission is 7%. Okay. And we're going to take, actually it was 8%. My commission's 8%. That's what we're going to get. But if we sell your home for above the asking price, okay, that you want, are you okay with splitting the money over and above that? And 9 times out of 10, the seller said, sure. Okay. So that's all it is. So it's a 7%, whatever your commission is, 7%, for example, in the listing agreement here, 7%. And every dollar above the asking price, the commission is 50%. No, that's not a net listing, not even remotely close. It's just a sales commission. If you don't want to do that, don't do it. Just line through it. It'll look like you're taking it away. Okay. If that makes you nervous, type in the chat if that makes you nervous. You know what Zig Ziglar called timid salespeople, right? All right. He didn't call them anything bad. He just said timid salespeople have skinny kids. Right?
Michael Roth skinny.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, so that's there for you guys to do or take away. Okay. Now, my personal opinion is I've seen some of you guys doing 70-30, where it's like, hey, for every dollar above the asking price, we're going to take 70%. I've seen some of you guys do that 60-40. I would just go with 50% if you're going to do it. Okay. And then negotiate it down from there. Now, I can assure you, listen up. I don't care what real estate brokerage you're at. It could be EXP. It could be Keller Williams. It could be Remax. JP. Who else is out there? Solid Source, Virtual. What you're looking at right now and the conversation that we just had, it's not even remotely on their minds. You making more money and delivering more value to the customers, not part of the conversation or culture. It's all, in my opinion, fake news. Okay. In other words, if you're going to talk about it, do it. And that's what we've done here. So all of this is to benefit the customer and you. I can see me talking to a customer and lining through that right in front of them as a takeaway. And they feel like they've gotten something from me of value. Okay. Some of those hard to sell homes, you may want to leave that in there. Okay. Now I know in case some of you are sort of new around here, that little thing in blue that I highlighted is not new. Okay. We have agents that, do that frequently. Okay. So there's a cancellation guarantee that is not an exhibit. So you don't have to offer that. You can just rip that thing right off of there. Okay, if you want to, because we didn't label it as an exhibit or extra. All right. But I use this in my listing agreements. Okay. I use this right after. Hey, look, at any time you don't like the work that we're doing, you can just fire me. Don't pay anything. Okay. So it's there for you. But right, Michelle, we don't have this labeled as an exhibit or an addendum with the listing agreement. So
No, we just made it the last page of the listing agreement, because if you're doing the guarantee program and you're offering it, you know, and you're talking about it obviously in your presentation, you know, people want to be handed something. So when you hand them that, they're like, oh, okay. So
all right, so it looks like a couple of issues on this listing agreement. Number one is looks like maybe some formatting things.
and we'll look at it.
And I think we all agreed that we would remove that one repeat paragraph since it's already in the agreement, or we remove it from the promises and we leave it there.
Okay.
Where we have it. Let's go back and look at it real fast.
Go to the promises and then
let's go back and let's just look at this real quick. Boy, it takes forever to scroll down through this. Here we go.
Voice over IP.
Okay. So the list price of property, the price at which the property shall be listed is $450,000. In the unlikely event seller's property does not sell within the term of this agreement, if you want, we'll extend the agreement and we'll just sell it for nothing. I got to tell you, I kind of like that here, as opposed to just being buried in the promises page.
Right, because you're going through the promises when you're doing so put yourself in mind of the seller who you're.
Why don't we do this?
To.
Let's leave it here and let's create a feedback loop from the agents that are out there with that.
I need to know. You guys got to talk. Are you talking? Let me know. Charles said he likes it there as well.
Yeah, it's about 50-50 split between everybody in the chat. I'd say we go with it. It's not going to hurt you by any means. Okay. What's Elizabeth talking about? Can we split the earnest money?
We talked about that. And just remember, guys, where the special steps where it says seller's initials, if you don't want to do that, the seller doesn't want to do any of that, just put NA on that line. And
Elizabeth,
like you don't have to do it.
Elizabeth is, you guys, we went through this. It's right there. Elizabeth says, hey, I got an idea. Why don't we split the earnest money? Elizabeth, it's right there. We already talked about it. Great job, darling. All right. So there's the listing agreement. Damn, that thing's good. That is really, really good. Good job, everyone. I think everybody likes that. All right, let's go to the buyer agreement. How do we do that?
All right, hang on.
Yeah, so a lot of you guys are typing in the chat. It should be this way or it should be that way. Here's what I would do. Take it to the customers. You put it out there for your clients and you follow the system here. Let your clients be the feedback. Don't pre-decide for your customers what they will and will not do, what they like and won't like. That's a big mistake. Everything you're seeing right here is because of experience. You know, like I've been involved in about 8,000 or more, maybe 10,000 now, real estate transactions. So what you're looking at is a culmination of that, not just my own personal experiences, but with clients that pay for coaching. So let's let the customers tell you how this works. In conjunction with the qualified buyer guarantee, wouldn't there be a guarantee? What was that question there?
Joshua.
In conjunction with the qualified buyer guarantee, wouldn't there be a guarantee
if the buyer defaults?
If the buyer defaults and earnest money is split, I don't know what he's talking about. That's in the contract. Sorry,
Dan's
Josh.
got his hand up.
I'm not understanding that. Where do we cover dual agency in the listing agreement? Well, you
But-
represent the seller.
Right. The seller is your client, so there's no dual agency. If you have a listing and the buyer comes, you get a buyer acknowledgement from the buyer before showing them the property. That's just real estate law.
100%. You do not want to talk about dual agency when there may never be one.
Right.
You bring it up when the opportunity comes up. Then you can say, okay, how am I going to handle this? I got a buyer. Looks like they might want to buy my listing. All right, how do I work? How do I handle this? You guys got it? But you don't want to wreck something on the front end. That's like doing a net sheet with the seller and building in closing costs on the net sheet. Oh, you got to pay closing costs when you have no idea if there will ever even be any.
Right.
So I'm absolutely not in support.
Right. And then
I like what you said, Michelle. So in other words, when it comes up, you deal with it then.
Right. And if it's a listing, if it's a YHSGR listing and another YHSGR agent brings the buyer, it is designated agency. It is still not dual agency, and that has to be disclosed. So it again, dual agency is not even brought up, but it's when that happens, we will appoint each agent to be the representative of the client and the buyer.
That's a better way to handle it for sure. Here's how it works, guys. If I've got a listing, I got a listing, a buyer calls on it. Okay, I'm already representing the seller because I got a listing. A buyer calls on it. I'm just going to sell in the house. They have no representation. Okay, I'm just going to sell in the home. If I've got a list, how about this? You got a buyer that you signed to a buyer agreement. Okay, and then you take a listing. You go back. You do a little match in your database, and it's like, oh my goodness, I got a buyer that matches with my listing. All right, that's when you deal with that. And we can help you navigate that several different ways, as Michelle just gave a couple of examples right there. So it does happen, though.
And it's going to happen more and more as we have more off-market properties.
Yeah, amen.
We should be trying to sell our own.
Okay, so let's go to the buyer agreement.
All right.
And then we'll walk through that, and then we'll look at our additional forms, and we'll be done.
Cool. This is it.
Keep the chats coming, though. These are good. We're monitoring them.
And Paul, this is, no, it will not replace the GAR form. This is our exclusive listing agreement for our program, the system that we used. And yes, you will still have access to the other documents and agreements. But, we highly encourage you to use the forms based on our system.
Yeah, do not look at. Let me give you guys some coaching advice. Don't use the Georgia Association of Realtor listing agreement or the Georgia Association of buyer agreement. Those things will not help you. And if you don't believe me, try it. Go out there and start doing business with strangers. Remember, most real estate agents evaluate their future from their present situation. And your present situations, when you're kind of new at this or small, most of it is friends and family and referrals and sphere. You can put a napkin in front of them and they'll sign it. All right. But when you start scaling your business and generating an overflow of leads from complete strangers, now you're competing in the marketplace with people who, quote, do not know you. Those GAR agreements will wreck your conversions. All right. That's the reason we do this. We're not doing this because we're doing all business with friends and family and referrals and sphere, everyone. It's because you're going to scale your business and generate overflow of leads. And we need help bridging the gap between their skepticism and where we are. Number one growing trend in America today, skepticism. Okay, good. That was good chats. Doing a little coaching along the way. Nice. All right, why are you moving? What is the most important to you in the home buying process? What do you believe needs to happen in order for that for you to get what's most important? So there's your 3 big questions for buyers on the front end of the buyer agreement. Here's page 1 of the buyer agreement, or page 2 rather. Starts out with, hey, the law says if you want representation, it's got to be in writing. Okay. And so I like blaming the law. Hey, I would love to do business on a handshake, but the law says we got to be in writing. Okay, so then we have all of our promises here, what we're going to do. We're going to do this, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. You guys will notice here that it says we're going to research and locate properties not readily available online and contact you when one or more match your home buying criteria. That would be like expired listings would be the easiest example. Go search expired listings to find homes for your buyer. With low inventory levels, which are likely to continue for about a year now, all right, you're going to be in a low inventory marketplace for a long time. So with low inventory levels, just looking at active listings in MLS, you're going to have a lot of unhappy buyers.
Yeah.
So if you don't have a standard business practice of looking for properties that are not active in MLS, you want to incorporate that into your business today. Okay. So type into the chat if you'd like more help in that area, and we'll set up some extra coaching and training on that. But to me, that right there, I would sign this buyer agreement right now. You don't need to, if I'm a buyer, you don't need to say another word. Okay. Because that is the number one benefit for most buyers. They're scared to death they're going to miss out on the perfect home. Here you come along and say, no, you're going to get access to any house. Those, not just active listings that you can find on the internet. Okay. Cool. All right. Let's see what's new on our buyer agreements here. Oh, right here. Here's a couple of new things. 1 year homeowner's warranty. I guess we put we put some disclosures in there that if you're over $1 million, essentially it doesn't work. Is that right?
Correct. There are some options for that. And I kind of went over that with Ted, but yes, up to $1 million, because some, $1 million homes have 5 and 6 AC units and different things. But there are some policies, and I would expect on $1 million home or more that my home warranty would not be $425, but probably closer to the $1,500 range.
I get you.
So they'll work out something special for those properties.
So everybody got that? So the only other option would be is to remove the 425 value. And if it's $1 million home, just negotiate in the warranty. I was under the impression that if it's over $1 million, like the warranty companies just didn't want to do the warranties. Am I wrong?
Correct. Right.
Yeah.
But they will, because it's just special, because they know there's a need for it.
All right. Well, when you guys are running into these luxury homes, over $1 million in Florida and Georgia, let's create a feedback loop here and let's see how that works. Okay.
Yeah, definitely for Florida too. Yeah. Beachfront properties.
Let's see if we run into any issues with that statement there, but I don't think you will. For me, how about this? If you're a buyer, you're buying a $1.5 million home, I'm going to get you a warranty. Done. Covered. So there you go. So that's pretty easy. You'll receive our written buyer satisfaction guarantee if we don't sell your home within if you're not happy with your home purchase over the next 2 years after moving in it, just contact me and I will sell it for you and not charge you a commission. And then what you can do right here, Platinum members, listen, is you just write in or buy it. I'll sell it for free or buy it. Okay. So you can use the guaranteed sell program, but written in looks really powerful. So you're going to see that for me on a coaching point. You're going to write in the guaranteed sell program if you're a platinum level member. Okay. I'll sell it for free or buy it back. All right. Under the terms of our guaranteed sell program. So you can imagine sitting there with a buyer and write that in. Yeah, if you're not happy with your home purchase over the next 24 months there, Chase, all right, just let me know, and I'll sell it for you and just won't charge you a commission, or I'll buy it back myself. All right, so, and I'm writing that in. Buyer's eyeballs get really big. Okay, you can cancel this agreement at any time. No problem there. There's the referral. Yeah, this one right here looks a little, let's go back and this one's got a little different format on it. Looks cleaner. Okay. So we went over that on the listing agreement. That's the same. All right. Now let's get down here to the next page. I went too far. Okay, here we go. VIP client investor program. Got it. At closing, you understand that our fee is 4% of the sales price, going to be worked into the proceeds of sale. All right. And the seller is also going to pay 0.5% for everybody else that's helping us help you. Okay. So everybody get that? So let's say that your sales commission, you're going to do 3.5. Okay. Well, no problem. I'm just going to line through 4 and make it 3.5. So I'm taking it away. So we're starting at the top end of the commission scale and typing that pre-printed into the agreement. You guys got it? And then you can scale it down from there if you want to negotiate that way. All right. Our average commission on buyer sales is right at 3.5% as a company. So that means the majority of people here are implementing the VIP buyer program. Okay, setting, negotiating, collecting your fee. That's one of the biggest benefits of being here. The companies that you guys came from, when we ended up here, they don't even have this conversation about setting, negotiating, collecting your fee. They're fine with all of the agents at their companies letting the listing agent set your fee. They're absolutely fine with it. I'm not fine with it. Okay, I'm not fine with it. I don't see how that helps you reach your hopes and dreams. Because if I'm a listing agent, I'm going to set the commissions low for a buyer's agent, right? So, and that's what they do. Sometimes they do 3, okay, but that's not the average. The average, according to Real Trends, is closer to 2.5 now. And you're going to see that continue to drop. So if you're not implementing the VIP buyer system here, you're just going to continue to do more work for less money. So we don't want you to do that. That's why we have this buyer agreement. This thing's beautiful, by the way. If you need additional coaching and training on setting, negotiating, and collecting your fee when working with buyers, regardless of what's in MLS, type into the chat, and Ira will help you. Okay. All right. So has everybody got that? So it's 4. But Chris Turvey, if you want to change that to 3.5, what would you do? Right. You would just line through it, right in 3.5. Okay. If you want to change that to 3, you would just change it to 3. If you're not sure what a transaction fee is, it's just additional money. So you can provide extra services and value. If you're going to hire people to work with you, that's an extra service and valuable to your customers because they get more than just you. All right. Me. Okay. Michelle, Dana, Morgan, Ira, Nathan, and everybody else here is extra services and value. Paying Craig Proctor, which is built into your deal here, is extra services and value. So you want to get that funded by the customers because they're the ones that ultimately benefit. Everybody get that? So that's why we have these fees set in as they are. All right, excellent. Good job.
Todd, can I say something on that?
Please.
So yeah, on this brokerage, because I get a lot of calls about the brokerage services fee, and it's usually from the closing table, so it's kind of refreshing.
Mm-hmm.
But it is definitely a commission that will come back to you. But when you're explaining it, sometimes like if you're in a confrontational situation at closing or what have you, you can blame it on the broker. It's the brokerage, it's the fee that the broker charges, like Todd said, for different services that we provide. So that way it kind of, the other agents say, oh, okay, well, it's just your broker that's charging that and not, I just want to make sure you're not getting it as a commission. Because it will say to your home sold guarantee realty. The problem comes when agents say, well, it's my additional commission. So just keep that in mind. It's just how you're phrasing it when you're, being asked or explaining it. But always blame the broker.
Yeah, I like that. Blame somebody else.
Well, I have a comment on that. So a lot of the agents here are in the process of building their team. A lot of people don't have large teams yet. You need to leverage us. We are your team. So if you're a single agent out there, even if you're a single agent with an assistant, as you're presenting your presentation to the buyer, you're trying to get them to sell this, guys, you got a team of 14 people behind you. So when you're trying to leverage getting that extra fee, you can always leverage us. Take them to the hub, show them your team. it's right there, your whole leadership team.
That's a good idea.
So.
All right. So again, if you need extra training on setting, negotiating, and collecting your fee when working with buyers, there's nobody else in the world better to help you on that than right here. You ain't going to go like, well, let me call the broker down at, let me call Steve over at Virtual. I'm sure he can help me do this. Right. Let me call Glenn Sanford, the owner of EXP. I bet he can help me. No. All right. Those guys have never even done it. Okay. So you guys got it. So there's nobody better to help you, but you've got to look for help. I just want to encourage you. Like, don't let days go by thinking about it. Push for help. That's what I did with Craig. I pushed the mess out of that guy. No, dude, I don't have it. No, I fully don't understand it. You got to explain it to me again. Walk me through it. Let me see some examples. And he would roll his eyes and sigh. You know, TJ, can you help Todd? He's bothering me again. So that was me. I pushed, and it was a good thing I did. So we can help you do it. So just type into the chat if you need extra help, coaching and training on setting, negotiating, collecting your fee. Okay, good. Now, why does this clause here on the first responder discount, why is it different than the one in the listing agreement? This one basically says if you're a nurse or a teacher, for goodness sake, why don't we just give it to everybody? What about the doctors?
Yep.
Like, are you a person? So anyway, I'm just trying to figure out. I know I'm making some fun of it, but seriously,
we'll fix it. We'll match it. We'll match it. That was a late edit.
Yeah.
Ira shared that with me.
So in other words, we're going to give it to nurses, but we're not going to give it to doctors. Like, I mean, where does it end?
It doesn't. It's anyone in that industry, because it could also be, guess what? It could also be a truck driver, because those were essential workers who were supplying all the food and stuff. So, I mean, it could be, you have to decide. It's your business, so you have to decide who you want to offer this discount to. So
Yeah,
I can change that. We'll make it even essential. We'll say doctors. We'll say essential workers.
Here's what I would do. Okay, this is what edit this agreement to be exactly like the listing agreement. If one of our peeps here wants to extend it to nurses, if you want to extend it to a teacher, if you want to extend it to the receptionist at, Taco Mac, all right, then write it in. Okay. But let's get this one to match with the one in the listing agreement. I like that, because if I can write it in, I look like a hero, right? So everybody get that? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to match those up, and you can write in if you want to extend it to nurses or teachers or something like that. Because I don't think this ends. Plus, like, what's a teacher? Like I homeschool my kids. I'm the teacher. Do you see where this goes? So yeah. So I think we stick with what we have, and then you guys write it in if you want to extend a discount to anybody. You like that, Michelle? Is that okay?
I like it.
Okay, good. I'm glad you agree.
Always agree. First rule of thumbs.
Amen.
That's what YHSGRU. Always agree.
All right. So, all right, down here we've got 597 trend retainer. Okay. Okay. So for those of you guys who don't want to collect the $597 up front, just line through it. Okay. But if you're like Anthony Thornton and you like collecting $597 up front, collect it up front. Here's where I stand on upfront retainers. Okay. I was fast to give those back. Okay. So if something didn't go right, my customer's pissed, they canceled and they don't want to buy anymore. Most of the time I just gave that money back to them. Okay. Which led to referrals. So anyway, just letting you guys know that if you're going to collect money up front for people, I think that makes you highly accountable, not them, but you highly accountable to that money. So if it's me, something doesn't go right, I'm going to give it right back to them. Okay. Does everybody get that? Or if they buy from me, issue it as a credit. It's just the right thing to do. That's second mile service. All right. So
a lot of times it'll save the deal.
Yeah. Look,
It'll-
we are 100% with everyone here wanting to get a retainer fee when working with buyers or sellers. I'm in. Like we practically invented it. So, but I'm just saying, when you do that, it's an extra layer of accountability on you, and you want to be responsive to that. As a matter of fact, I think we just did a deal where we actually had one of our agents that was refunded some money that they collected up front from a buyer. Is that right, Michelle?
Yes, correct.
Yeah, right thing to do, man.
Yep.
Good job. Okay, so the rest of this language in here is I'm just looking at, I'm just checking this out here. Sales agent commissions and brokerage service fee can be paid from, got it. Closing costs and prorations as referenced includes but are not limited to. Why do we need that in the buyer agreement?
Well, the one thing is saved a couple of people here recently, even though it's in the GAR contract. It's for an explanation because some buyers have asked. We won't say what their personality types were, but it has come up to really help break that down. So we just took that straight off of the other contract. And
yeah,
our special step.
Right. This is part of our coaching and training for everyone when you're putting together purchase and sell agreements. So to make sure that, you know, your fee deficiency that you're negotiating through the closing cost is included in closing cost language. I'm just wondering why we had that in the buyer's agreement. I guess that's okay though.
Yeah, some buyers are asking now, just because I guess when they're talking with their lenders and all that stuff. So it's like, okay, well, here you go.
Okay,
So,
I get it. So I don't think that does any damage at all. As a matter of fact, it probably makes good sense. Okay, this is new.
Yes.
A sold sign on the property.
Yes. Yes. So basically, of course, keeping in compliance with the law. They do allow us when we're marketing their properties to continue to advertise, but we do ask so that, it gives you an opportunity to continue to get more sign calls, possibly more business for allowing them you to leave your sign in the yard for sold as a sold sign once it closes.
This is just standard language, I guess. If the buyer says, forget it, I don't want to buy, and then they turn around and go buy a home that you introduced them to, they owe you the money. Is that what that is?
That's correct.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Again, any of this language I don't like, I can line through, but I can't line through it if it's not in there. Buyer default. Hey, just so you know, dude, if you we're going to go do this. If we're in the middle of the deal and you change your mind, I get paid. Okay. Same thing again. If I don't like it, I can just line through it. But I think that only makes sense there. I'm just looking at it here. If you, I don't think anybody has any issue with this here. Buyer default. Buyer agrees to immediately pay broker its commission in the event any of the following occur. Buyer defaults. Without the prior consent, get backs out of the deal. I default. Doesn't the purchase and sell agreement have this in there that if somebody defaults, they owe the commission if there is any?
They've removed a lot of that verbiage too, because of recent specific performance lawsuits. So we just thought it was a good idea to put it in here. Just letting the buyer know, because sometimes buyers want to know, well, what if I want out? What happens if I want to terminate, with you, or I don't want to work with your agent anymore? Well, this is what we're expecting to happen. And, we'll let you out, but this is
right.
How
so yes, I'm with everybody. If this is in the purchase and sell agreement here, there's no reason to have it in a buyer agreement. But if it's not in the purchase and sell agreement, we better have it in our buyer agreement. Yeah. Okay. Oh, hey, are you okay, buyer, with me using your testimonial in my marketing? Cool.
Hence the word indefinite amount of times. So one
Yeah.
is for the soul sign, and then the other one is all the other stuff that they gave you. So, just guys, be sure to get your 5-star reviews. Like, don't wait to the end to get them. Like, because now you can use those and continue to market them even while you're negotiating for, this buyer before it closes.
Okay. Yeah, keep the feedback coming, because if there's something here that, we got real issues with, because I'm getting mixed responses on that. So I guess right now, create your feedback loop with your customer. If you guys don't want that in there, just line through it. Okay. But if that's not in the purchase and sell agreement, I'm telling you, you're going to want, you're going to want some protection there on getting paid from people that are going to knife you. Okay. All right. So it looks pretty good. I guess everything else is there. There you go. So there's the buyer agreement. Let's go to we got about 10 minutes left. Let's go to back to the hub and look at some of these other forms. We don't have to open them up, but can we look at them?
Sure.
Yep. Which ones do you want?
Let's just look at the categories or all the forms.
It just might be easier for me to do this, is what I'm getting at. Like, it's less download time.
I got you.
So these are all I can make this bigger, I think. Yep.
All right. Yeah. Let's take a look at this. All right. So we got buyer agreements, 4 of those based on charities. We have, and we have listing agreements down here on the bottom, 4 of those based on sponsored charities. And all these other forms that you have here. Let's see. We have a FSBO exhibit, VIP seller options, 100% of asking price, amendment to VIP seller, Georgia buyer cash savings guarantee, guaranteed sell commission, negative equity rollovers, guaranteed sell disclaimers. All right, let's just open up the FSBO exhibit real fast. I think we can run through all these in about 15 minutes. Okay. Nothing wrong with running through them. We can always go back and read them. Okay. Hey, Todd, I really like what you're talking about here, but you know what? I think we're going to try to sell our home ourselves for about 30 days. Okay. Okay. No problem, Mr. Seller. Why don't we do this? Why don't we do both? You try to sell it and I'll try to sell it at the same time. And if you sell it, you don't have to pay me anything. You guys see that? That's what this form is. Okay. This form does that right there for you. Okay. It allows you to basically list a home. And if the seller sells it himself, no commission for you. Okay. That's trying to get business from a FSBO who still wants to continue doing a FSBO. Okay. But still want the exclusive listing. Just exclude their buyers that they have. That's pretty sweet. Okay, let's go to the next one there, Dana.
Minimize that. Okay, now which one? Seller options?
Yeah, let's take a look. VIP seller options for listing and selling. So this is if you want to get more money. Okay, so check this out. Put this on a little page so I can see it all. All right, option 1, pretty much what we're doing right now. Option 2, hey, this is what we get: 7%, 0.5% plus $597 up front. Okay, so all you're doing is adding in extra value to get paid more money. That's what this is. All right, adding in extra value equals more money for you. Option number 3, 7%, 0.5 point, and $995 up front. Okay, so I used this back during the recession to basically throw in more value so that I could justify sellers paying me up front. Has everybody got it? Because half the homes weren't selling during the mighty recession that you guys will remember. So, but we're doing all the work, and I can't be like losing money on every deal just because the seller won't or can't sell their home. So we had to figure out how to get paid some of our money up front and weed out the ones who weren't serious. And that's how we did it. That was pretty slick there. So that allows you to collect even more money up front by adding in more value. And you guys can see that. That's good. Let's go to the next one. 100% of asking price. This is a certificate right out of our coaching site. Okay. But it's been with a couple of modifications on it. Okay. For example, one of the conditions is that we have to agree on the difference to be paid. So that's what that is there. It's written in there, difference to be paid. So you guys are familiar with your home sold at your price, or I'll pay you the difference. This would be the condition certificate for that. Beautiful. Okay, let's go to the next one. What do we got here, Michelle?
This I get a lot of calls about an amendment. And so some have been trying to use the GAR form as the GAR form amendment with our VIP seller and buyer agreement. So we just created an amendment for either one. This could be for price reduction. Some of them are changing the terms of the listing time frame and things like that. So here is an actual amendment to our VIP seller and buyer agreement.
Cool. Let's go to the next one. Cash savings guarantee. Same thing that we were looking at a second ago. This is right off our coaching site with a couple of little additions built into it based on our experience. Okay. Okay. So everybody get that? So that's all that is. If I'm going to guarantee the buyer that I'm going to save him money on his home purchase, and if I don't save you at least $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 on your purchase, I will pay you the difference. Okay. So now we just have to decide what the difference is going to be. Okay. And you can see down here, I've established it at 1,000. So if you want to change that to 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, based on the size, price of the home they're buying and your commission rate, you could do that. Hey, look, now we're gonna do additional coaching and training on all this. Don't worry about it. Those of you guys that are typing in the chat, hey, I want some more. I want to know more about that. I want to know more about that. Keep it coming. We'll do it. Today, we just wanted to run through the form so you could see what was there with a couple of new things that were added into those other agreements. All right, let's take a look at a couple of more, and then we'll be done. Guaranteed purchase and sell program. Additional commission. All right, so let me show you what this is. For those of you running the guaranteed sell program, okay? For those of you running the guaranteed sell program, this would be something for you. So let's say that the buyer is not moving up and buying one of my listings. Would I still run the guarantee? And the answer is sure, but I need to be getting paid. I need to be getting paid just like they were buying one of my listings. All right, very important. You don't want to guarantee the sale of a buyer's home if they're moving up and buying somebody else's listing, okay? Unless you're getting paid the same amount as if it was your listing, 7%. You guys got it? So that's what this form allows you to do, is to build in enough commission income, which would cover your down payment should you have to buy the house, okay? That's how we did it. This is the deal that I made with the builders in town. Had 19 builder accounts sending me buyers with houses to sell, but they were buying homes from the builders. Okay. So this is how I worked it out. I can guarantee the sale of your home, but if I got to buy it, I got to be getting a certain amount of money here so that I can buy the thing. They certainly understood it and it worked pretty well. Okay. So that's there for your benefit. All right, let's go to another one. I think we got maybe one or two more. Negative equity rollover. Boy, you talk about some weird stuff here. Okay. So what is a negative equity rollover? I could probably spend 20 minutes with you guys on coaching you on this deal. Essentially, this is reducing your commission on the listing that you have to a number and adding it in to the purchase of their new home and getting paid a sales commission bonus. All right. You guys got it? This came about back in the recession. You guys remember you had all these short sales. Okay. So we would take our commission. Let's say our commission was $10,000 and the guy was -8 on his net sheet. Okay. And he's got, dude, if I got to pay $8,000, I can't buy the other house. No problem. I'll take $8,000 of the commission off. That'll put you at 0 here. And then boom, I'm going to add it to the home you're buying as a sales commission bonus. We just got to negotiate that in, make sure that's kosher with everybody. Is that okay? That would be great. So that's where that comes from. You're rolling over the negative equity, which essentially is because of your fee. I shouldn't say that. It's just, they're just negative. You could say it's because of their mortgage, all right, or something else. But we can't control their mortgage, but we can control our fee. So we're just taking it out and applying it to the next deal. So you guys can see that all of these forms here are basically, they're little mini coaching programs in themselves to help you to get your brain working on how to produce, conjure up, and do more deals with people creatively that you might not have known existed. That's what I like about these. So I think that covers them all. Is that right, Dana?
I think there's one more.
You were going to say something there, Michelle?
No.
All right.
You know what? I think it just plays into all these forms are when you get on webinars and you tell our group, every issue is already solved for you. I think this is kind of where it plays in, that you just have to ask us. We have the answer somewhere, and we just tell you where it is.
Yeah, 100%. Here's what this proves today. Somebody knows how to friggin' sell some houses. Somebody knows how to put some deals together. Somebody's done a thing or two creatively to make some deals happen. You got it.
Somebody's had their share of deals go sideways at one point.
It, man. This is how. This is the top end of the pyramid when it comes to deal making. All right. So let's cover this and then we'll wrap this up. If you're running the guaranteed sell program, okay. If you're running the guaranteed sell program, your home sold guaranteed or I'll buy it. If you're running that and every time you list a home, you're not getting this thing signed, you're going to run into some 5-star review problems. Okay. So let me just tell you where this came from. Nobody ran the guaranteed sell program at a higher level than I did, in the marketplace, as you guys know, back in the day. All right. So let's say Dana was one of my outside sales agents, which she was at one time. Dana goes out on a listing and she takes the listing. All right. 90 days into it, the seller calls me and says, "Hey, Todd, you guys have had my home on the market for about 3 months now. When are you going to buy it?" And it's like, who are you? So to prevent that from happening, okay, because I didn't know what the outside sales agents were saying and not saying, I forced everyone into bringing back this disclaimer so that every homeowner knew that we were not buying their house unless they were in the guaranteed sell program. And here's how that works. And that's all that was. And that absolutely solved almost 100% of those kinds of questions and issues. Okay. And if it didn't, I could always produce this form to the seller who's frustrated and their home's not selling. I said, well, look, man, you signed this thing that says you understood that we're not buying your house since you're not moving up and buying one of my listings. But if you want, I can absolutely buy your home right now. Here's what I'll give you for it. Well, I don't want to sell it for that. Okay. All right. But I'm going to send the offer over anyway. And then they never could say that Todd didn't make an offer on my home. So I would do that. That was me. Okay. I got no problem making an offer on any piece of real estate if it's a good deal for me, as you guys know. Same for you. But that's how you run the guaranteed sell program, when you're taking on a listing. So if you're, for those of you guys that are doing that, there's about 50 of you that are, you want to make sure you're getting that disclaimer sign for your benefit. Okay, Michelle, any final words?
Nope. Thank you everyone for being here. We'll make those changes. We'll actually look at them and then we will get them back out and we will do a follow-up video, let everyone know about some training, additional training that will be going on, and we'll make sure that these are available to you. Mm-hmm. So in the meantime, make sure you get your contracts in, get everything in, and go serve big.
Thank you very much, Michelle. Dana, anything else?
We are going to do broker sumo training next Thursday. So everyone on the call will get a link to join that Zoom next week, Thursday, 10 a.m. So jump on that. We'll roll through how to start Broker Sumo.
Awesome.
Okay. Brandon's asking about the flexible commission addendum. I know I gave you guys that one. Do you see it there in your stack, Dana?
I do not.
Okay. All right. So write that down. We need to pull
It
that
could be
out.
just Brandon, not in my folder here though.
You know what I'm talking about, Michelle?
Yeah.
Okay.
The flexible.
Yep, Brandon, we have that flexible commission addendum. So we'll get that in there. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to, now that we've been through these agreements, looked at some of the changes, getting some of your feedback on that, we'll get those nice jazzed up. Those will be available for everybody on the hub. It's not like we don't already have agreements that we're using.
Right.
Right. These are
Nope,
just.
and here's the hub. Like all the forms will be there for them to use. Yep.
Okay. So let's say, can we have all this ready to go by Monday?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it's mostly ready now. We just have to do some formatting issues.
Okay, good deal. Good deal. All right. All right. Nice job. Thanks for all the chats and comments, questions, and all that kind of stuff. You guys are pretty amazing and on top of it. Great real estate agents you are for sure. Big thinkers and thinking outside the box creatively to help people solve their problems. Love it. Love it. All right. Let us know what we can do better. My email address is tw@toddwalters.com. And my cell phone number is 770-355-8010. As you guys, everybody should have that. You can text me, you can call me, you can email me if at any time there's an issue or you got an idea or a strategy, anything. We're building this thing for you guys. It's going to continue that way. Flexibility is a key to success. The only thing I'm rigid on are success principles and extra mile. Okay. So anything that gets in the way of success principles or going the extra mile for the customer, we don't want that. Okay. So you can see everything we're doing is about that, delivering and over delivering to the customers. Good deal. So nice job, everyone. Thank you, everyone at Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty administrative team. You guys are doing a great job and appreciate everybody's hard work. All right, let's go to work, man. It's 11:05.
Right.
You guys
Okay.
ready to rock? Go sell
Yes,
some
sir.
houses.
Let's get it. Thank you. Have a great day.
See ya.